So the question that we've been given is, what do you think are the three most common things men worry about?
Three most common things.
I think certainly from the conversations that I have with a lot of male friends, it's job, it's money.
Yeah, money's a big one.
Like being financially secure.
Top one would be finances, providing.
Yeah.
I think like career is something which is like at the front of my mind right now, because I'm like 31 years old. And I'm thinking like, I need to make sure my career's right. So I'm dedicating a lot of time towards that. And I think about it quite a lot and, worry about it.
Achievements as well, I think. Yeah. I've got to do this by this age. I've got to have this car by this age, this house. I've got to have this job, that sort of stuff. And I think that adds a lot, and especially with like social media and the way things are at the moment, it adds to the pressure of I've got to achieve this, that, and the other by a certain time.
Also, I feel like a big thing men think about a lot is fitness. Being at a prime level of fitness is really important. So things like that, and health-wise and lifestyle-wise. So
I think about the way I look. So like I think it's become easier as I've got older because I've become like more accepting of just the way I am. But I think growing up, especially I was like worried about the way I look, and I still have that worry to this day.
And those problems.
I think the third one might be relationships. It's like commitment though. Yeah. It's not just that relationship. It's you can word. Exactly. It's a big word.
Very scary word.
Relationships, friendships, like whatever it is. I think that's like I think about that quite regularly and worry about that. Like if I'm like on the right path for that.
I think one, even if they don't always admit it to themselves, is worrying about a sense of purpose, not living purposefully, and then seeking it through other things.
I think for me, things that I worry about are, I think, living a life worth meaning.
I think it all comes from people not knowing what their purpose is, thinking their purpose is outside of themselves, and not realising that their purpose is just to be themselves fully.
Yeah.
And it leads to all these other little worries and insecurities.
Do you feel like you may have to fit in?
Yeah.
Just so you can like maybe appease who you're around.
Yeah, it's especially with tastes and like what people's opinions are.
A pressure to fit in. So like in certain sports from school, if you like football, you're this or you're that, or like certain types of things that men are supposed to like. What defines masculinity and what doesn't?
I think as a man, we're sort of told to be that person and be kind of masculine, and you can lean on us if you need it, if you need to. Yeah. Like we'll worry about ourselves like kind of after. I've got to always be there for people.
Yeah.
But sometimes some people got to be there for them.
Yeah, that's very true.
Why should I try to please someone my whole life when it's the life I'm living? Like they're not living my life. I'm living my life. I have to live myself every day.
Yeah.
So I really do believe, do what makes you happy, and obviously if it makes a few people upset, like why not? Because at least then you're happy.
Yeah.
And you know this is what I want. Instead of having someone tell you, like parents, friends, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and then that's what you said. It leads to like somewhere where you don't want to be, in a job you don't like. What does it mean if you're not happy in this life? Like what's the purpose?
Cool. Okay. What is your greatest fear?
On a personal level, my greatest fear is never being good enough. Yeah. I come from a mixed race background. I'm first generation, child from migrant family, and not identifying as white and not being white myself. It's always about having to prove myself constantly in any situation, in any environment that I'm in. I've always got to be better somehow. Always got to try and show myself to be better because my counterparts somehow have an advantage over me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do get that. I think mine is also that I think I'm around a lot of very intelligent, successful people, and I feel I compare myself to others quite a lot. And sometimes not feeling good enough and not having something to contribute all the time. And I want to leave something behind for someone to remember me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think that far ahead to think of my deepest fears. Like, I kind of like just block that kind of stuff out because I'm walking around every day thinking about my deepest fears. It doesn't really go with the flow of my life. But one thing that I am kind of, I want to say scared, but kind of like think about sometimes is like, I know how good I can be. And the fact that I may not ever reach that point is like, it's a bit daunting. I feel like I know I can be that good. But I just got to tell myself and get out of what I'm doing now to reach that point.
Yeah.
So, along the lines of what you guys are saying as well, but yeah, they're all destined for good thing kind of thing. So, let's work towards it.
Reach your potential.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
For me, like, when everything's all said and done, but I don't have regrets, like, in terms of like maybe underachievement or thinking, I can't, I should have done this, or I was in a certain place and thinking, I could have done more in this situation, or just in, like, even when it comes to uni, just not doing like assignments and stuff, thinking, I'll do it next day, and then it just comes to a point where like you're just cramming everything in and not doing it to the standard that you could do. For example, personally, it's just like definitely having a sense of regret when when you're 80 years old, just thinking, could I have done more or with my life.
Yeah, I have to say that's the same thing with me, because obviously I really hate procrastinating. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then I don't end up doing it. And when the day comes, I'm just like, no, I'll just do it next day or something. And then all of that, I know it will build up to regret in the future, because me and Joe were talking about this before. Living a life without any regrets. Like, you don't wanna regret anything. You want your life to be, I did everything I wanted to do, and I lived with no regrets.
Is it possible to live without regrets though?
No, it's not. It's part of being human, in my opinion.
When people say don't like regret anything, I mean, sometimes for me that's a good mentality to have in a way, where you just don't, because I feel like sometimes it's when you look back at your past that can become a problem when you go forward. That's something personally I'm guilty of, is thinking of like sort of slating myself and having all these regrets, so it's impacting me in the present moment, kind of thing. I don't know if people can relate, but
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
like, for me also, I think people are too scared to at times leave their comfort zone, because sometimes some people may want to, I need to leave this job if I want to pursue my dreams, but obviously you need to put food on the table, so how can I do both at the same time? Like, I've spoken to people that want to, for example, get into fashion and stuff, but they can't do it because they need an income at the end of the day and they don't have time to do it. But like 5 years later, they'll be like, I wish I just done it and just took the leap of faith, and thinking, what, like, you'll never know if it would have succeeded if like you didn't do it or not. But it's just a what if, like, what if I did like this?
It's kind of like the fear of failure.
Yeah,
that's what holds you back, like, from
Definitely.
actually. It holds a lot of people back in their life from pursuing their dreams. It's just the fear of failure.
Do you think the fear of failure makes you comfortable where you are? Like,
yeah, I
doing
think you
stuff?
can. Yeah.
Greatest fear for me. If I'm totally honest, I think it would be ended up completely by myself. I think that's my biggest fear. I come from quite a unstable background, shall we say, and I've now built myself a family, but my fear is losing that and ended up on my own. I think that's my biggest thing. I always block it out, and that's never spoken, but If I'm honest with the question, that would be it for sure. Yeah.
What's your motivation then? You know, you've said something that's actually quite, I presume, would be quite personal, so we're going to resonate with, but you've been honest enough to say it.
Yeah.
What's your drive to mean that you're putting something into place so that it doesn't happen?
I make sure that I work for my family and that I put in everything I can, not only financially but emotionally, so that it doesn't happen. You know.
Is that difficult to give that emotion?
Yeah, 100%. But it's hard, but it's
rewarding.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to men, sometimes like we're not the best with our emotions, but I feel like when you eventually do give in and start speaking about it and start sharing it, it's not as bad as you think. Like, not more good comes from it than bad. So, yeah, you just start speaking what's on our mind and be more emotionally vulnerable.
How do we give in?
Yeah, that's a bit of a sticky one.
Because we've been hardwired for so long to be told to be tough, to be strong, to be, you know, resilient somehow, to just, you know, have a pat on the back or something didn't go well. Just carry on. It's
Brush it off. Yeah.
Brush it off. But how can we give in? Like, there has to be some method, some plan.
I don't think there is. I feel like it's just sit down and 1, 2, 3, go.
Just
literally 1, 2, 3,
try.
go.
Well, one day it will just happen.
Yeah, like, because the way I work with life is you think about it too much and you start overthinking. And when you start overthinking it, you're never going to do it. So you just go out, just take the jump, 1, 2, 3, boom.
I think
hope for the best.
Yeah, I think building strong relationships so you can build trust with certain people and having those times and to sort of let out what you want and what you need, and having people that can give you good advice. I think strong relationships are definitely.
Do you think age plays a factor? Like, the younger you are, the more, I don't know, less you want to give into it, and as you become older, you're more afraid to be alone, or you're more afraid to want to, you know, you want to just attach yourself to something because it's that ultimate fear of, am I going to have somebody to look after me when I'm older?
Yeah, I feel like you're right, because if you all like go back to when you were like kids, you're giving out love and showing affection to absolutely anybody. It was so easy. Like, if someone would cry to me when I was in primary school, early secondary, or even before that, I'll be so happy, easy to like be there. If you're there to me now, I'm just staring at you. I don't know what to do.
That's because as you grow, it gets drummed into you that you should be a type of way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should act a type of way and deal with your emotion a type of way.
For me, it's like another fear is uncertainty. Like what you say about like another generation, like when, you know, one day you will have children. But it's like looking forward, what I don't like in life, as Jim Morrison said. Well, that's quite morbid. He said like the future is uncertain, but the end is always near. That's pretty heavy stuff. But
that was
like
so smooth, by the way.
But like, I don't know. That's probably not like the best quote to use, but I think uncertainty is a thing humans do fear.
I think there's liberty that comes with that, though, you know, like having a sense of responsibility of, you know, you're kind of like the master of your own destiny, and like having that acceptance that, like, you know, because I feel sometimes like with the lens that we have now in the world, everything's global, and, you know, I think the only thing you can do, in my opinion, is just like impact the behaviors that you have and you do, and set an example for others around you, and try and make the little changes that you can make. Like, you know, like with social media,
So true.
you know, it can be really negative, but actually we have the ability now to be able to change it. You know, you can follow who you want to follow, you can like what you want to like, you can comment on what you want to comment. So if something isn't serving you, you just unfollow it. And it's the same with life. Like, you know, like,
such a good point.
you know, like if friends around you are not serving you, you just kind of like got to get to the point where you're comfortable with, like, you know, shutting people out if they're not, you know, being a good friend to you. So like, you can actually create the life that you want to create, but sometimes it is hard because, you know, we have attachments to things, like, you know, we get endorphin hits from social media. You know, we have like attachment with like the people around us that perhaps are not treating us very well. So I don't know. I think having that, like I said, the ability to be able to think like I am actually like the master of my own destiny is like very liberating.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that point. I think there's one statement that I live by every day is I only have the right to change myself, and I embrace that change. because we can put all the focus and attention on others, and people do this and people write about that, and it's this way and it's that way. But the change starts right here, right now, in the now, within us, within the individual, within the self. And we can only, instead of, often we can talk about how we're uncomfortable with how other people are, so we try and change the circumstances. Again, it goes back to that fear of being in the unknown, fear of the unknown. So we try and control the circumstances, control how someone else is, or how someone should or shouldn't, which is judgment of the mind, should or shouldn't, like or dislike, right or wrong. We've got to go beyond this duality of this separation that happens within the mind, and it's just judgment. It's this massive judgment that that's being placed. But it's no point me going, it's placed out there if I'm not dealing with it within myself. Because if I'm dealing with it myself, people will see that, right? And no need to even preach it, just be it, like be about it, rather than like talk about it, preach about it, be about it. Of course, these discussions where you share and it can ignite some motivation and it can ignite a spark. But even motivation itself is always still external. And inspiration's internal. It's got to come from within. So let that spark ignite from within and light the fire up for change, for ultimately starting with the daily steps that we can change right here, right now. Because how do you have a good day? Right? You have a good right now. And if you have a good right now, that means you're going to have a good week and a good year and a good life. So really the answer of how to have a good life is, how do you want it to be right now? And going back to this, cool. You're the architect of your own destiny. And yes, we have the mind and we have the individual personality and whatever. But it's remembering that we are literally connected.